Hello traders, welcome to a new session for this week with me, Pierre from PAFX. I hope that all of you had a great trading week. It was a very good trading week for us in the room, and there was a lot of good movement. I think those of you who've been trading last week know exactly what I'm talking about with all the dollar weakness we got. So that gives a lot of opportunities, and I hope that you guys was on the right side of it. So a new week ahead, and as usual we start with the disclaimer. Please read this risk disclaimer and know about the risk involved in Forex trading. And that this session is only the way I see the market and should not be seen as a signal in any way. Yeah. Hello Huzaifa, welcome buddy, welcome to all of you guys, and once again please read the disclaimer and let's get started. Yeah. As usual we start with taking a look at what news we have for the next week. Yeah, you are on time, Marcus, welcome. So next week we do have we start on Tuesday with CPI year on year for the sterling, Chairman Jordan's speech for the Swissy, and we do have on Wednesday an important day for the CAD, and the rate statement, and the BOC press conference is going to be the most important thing. I think the market has priced in this overnight rate to 1.25 already, but we should be really listening to the press conference itself and see if there is more hawkish talk or not for the CAD. For the Aussie, employment change and unemployment rate on Thursday. We have some Chinese news also, which may affect both Aussie and New Zealand. And we do have some building permits and unemployment claims and crude oil inventory for the USD. And on Friday, retail sales month on month for the sterling. So not much of a major news for the US dollar, which was the main mover of the market the whole last week. Yeah. And with the US dollar we start as usual, and we're gonna take a look at the Dixie, and this is a very scary chart we have in front of us. And as you see guys, last week the dollar weakness just continued, so we do now have 4 red week in a row in a very strong manner, especially Thursday, Friday for the dollar was a very strong bearish days, and we did actually broke and close below the previous low. This was like the last line of defense for the Dixie, and now we did break it with some points. Now if we look left, there is no much structure to work with until we reach these levels that may act as possible support, as you see here. And of course if that got broken, there is so much to the downside risk on the dollar. If we go down to the daily, you see it more clearly how strong of a move was last Friday. We did break below this minor structure we had. We looked at this structure as possible short-term support that now got broken, so we did a break of new low here, and we did also break below this last low here around the 91 area. And seems like we are heading to at least a monthly S2 here. So dollar very weak, and it really needs major good news or major bad news for the euro area to help the dollar, and I don't see any scenarios yet that may help that, because we had the German coalition going well. We do have a change in the ECB statement in the last ECB minutes. It was more hawkish than usual, so everything is pointing toward a strong euro, and it seems that the dollar may keep going down for a while. So if we look at the technicals, the next level of the next possible level to do business at is, of course, waiting for a correction higher, maybe a retest of these levels up here, or a retest of the monthly S1 from below, to try to take a short, because this is still looking very bearish, and we should, in my opinion, keep following this bearish move. Now we see some comments. We are trading below the 100, as you see. We are trading below the 200 and below all the moving averages. Yes, so one can ask some question about who is still selling at these lows, and the thing is, if we take a look at the EUR/USD chart, and the same question goes there: who is still buying at these highs? And my answer was the same as when we start selling the euro from these levels, and kept selling all the way back down. And when the euro reached these levels here back in 2015, everyone was saying this should reverse now, who can keep selling the euro at these levels? And as you see, the selling kept going until we reached it back down almost toward parity. So asking this question, who is buying and why, and it is expensive, the same thing what happening to the downside may happen now to the upside. And basically after the break of this major 2.5 year range here, that was game changing for the euro, and we could expect a very strong continuation to the upside, and this is what's happening right now. Yeah, and the reason I'm showing the EUR/USD with the Dixie chart is, of course, as you know, we do have more weight for the euro in the index. About 55 to 60% of the dollar index is weighted toward euro. So yeah, is it possible that we keep going lower from here? I say yes, it is possible. And looking at these candles and this strong momentum, I don't see the reason why it should stop right now. The only thing we do have on the chart for now that may help this a little bit is this bullish divergence on the weekly. As you see here, we do have a clear bullish divergence, but that all what we have. And trading only technicals will never be the best thing to do. So all the fundamentals so far, even though we do have some rate hikes, the euro seems to be the stronger one, and that it may continue to be stronger. Yes, guys, that's my answer. There is a possibility that we may see the dollar going even lower. Kevin, yes, you are on time, buddy. we just did the Dixie, and we were talking about this break. We are looking for a possible retest and probably a continuation, if not something major fundamental change this scenario. Now, the gold did also a very strong move to the upside, broke new highs. We broke above the monthly R1. Friday was a very, very strong day, And of course, with such a weak dollar, the gold get much stronger. Structure wise, looking left, I don't see any reason why would the gold stop here now after we broke this previous high. If we look at the weekly, you see that there is a possibility that we reach this, at least this monthly R2 and the 1355, 1357 area up here, or probably higher. So this move to the upside is still going. We do have now 5 weeks in a row of a very strong gold, and it seems that the dollar is not interesting for investors, because it seems like all the money is in gold, and is, if we'll take a look at the S&P 500, you see also it's also going like crazy. So the money right now is indices and gold, metals, and of course the dollar seems not to be an interesting asset for now. So technicals on gold, of course, for a continuation we want to see some correction lower. First structure would be a retest back down to this broken structure as a first level, for a possible bounce higher, or a deeper correction would be even better. I would keep seeing gold as a possible buy even from the 1300 area up here, or even down here would be still a possible buy on gold. So I'm not looking for something else than buying. Once again, this strong momentum we do have now may not give us deeper corrections. So 1325 is a key level now, and we do have the 1300 also could be a good level to try to buy from, or this structure that got broken and never retested. I think the market objective seems to be to reach in the extreme highs up here. It seems very doable that we do reach the 1355. If you have a long on gold, I think you may keep holding it until we reach monthly R2 area. Oil also keep going very strongly. I've been bullish on oil for a very long time now, and now after breaking above these highs, there is no reason to change that bias. The question is of course where or when to buy. So if we look left, you see that structure wise it is a very empty area, and there is room to the upside. But of course, looking at the RSI on the weekly, it is at the extreme overbought. But that itself is not enough. We need to more evidence than just an overbought RSI. It's been overbought since the price was at this level, and even though we kept moving higher toward these levels here. So now we broke above monthly R1, retested and continued, and broke above monthly R2, which is a very high level. And of course the idea would be to buy the dips, and I think the first structure level, if we gonna trade this structure wise only, would be a retest of this broken structure here as a first level, and back down here would be even better correction low toward the monthly pivot point, or toward the 58.50 area. A correction back down here would be a good buy level, and the first level would be around the 61.50, where we do have this previous structure to do a retest of, and probably continuation. Everything, even fundamentals, And the thing that both the OPEC and non-OPEC keep going with the cuts on oil, and they seem to have one goal in mind, and that is to push the oil prices higher than we have right now. Kevin, I'm not sure what's happening to the video. Is anyone else having any trouble with the picture or the sound? Please let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I will keep going, and if someone else saying that there is a problem with the picture, I will see what I can do. Everything is green from my side, both the connection and the sound test. Everything looks good from here. So let's start with some Forex pair, and we start with Aussie Jappy, which did reach this area here, and last week got rejected from that level to do a retest. Okay, fine. Everyone saying is the video is fine, so I will keep going. This move here, it seems very extended to us, and we've talked about this, that this may need some correction lower. We got correction down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then when the price did reach this previous structure down here, if we look left, and why I had this structure marked on my chart was these tests here, and that the level been acting as good support and resistance in the past, and the price did hold at this level down here. Now the thing is that we did break below this structure, so this up move is violated now, and what I'm looking at as levels for this is if we get another retest of this level, making a possible double bottom, you can try to buy, or another retest to this previous structure, you can try to sell it from that level until we get a breakout. So if we break to the downside, then of course this scenario will be like this, or if we break to the upside, a continuation to monthly R2, or to retest these extremes highs up here. Yeah. On the 4 hour, we do have this possible bottom, double bottom happening already, as you see here, with a very nice bullish divergence on the RSI. So yeah, once again, any retest toward these areas down here could be a good level to try to take a long from, or to short back from the monthly R1 once again, until the structure got broken. We can keep buying this level, and if it got broken, then I think we may see a retest toward these areas around the monthly S1 and probably lower. Aussie USD, this one did also well against the USD, not only because of Aussie strengths, but because of the dollar being so weak last week. The start of the move was based on Aussie strengths, but then last week everything was about the weak dollar, and now did break and traded above the 61.8 and did stop at the monthly R1. I do like to short monthly R1s, but now we did break above this previous structure, so I will keep looking to probably go long if we got a retest of this level back down here around the 50% Fibonacci retracement, now when the dollar seems so weak. What can make me change my bias is a break below this structure here, a retest that failed to go back above, then probably we can start try to sell toward the neckline down here as a possible target. Otherwise, it is still a by the dips market. On the 4-hour, we had a very long time of divergence since this high here, and we start getting these divergence, and when this happened, I was looking for a break below this structure, retest, continuation, but we never got that. The divergence ended at this level here, and the price did find a good support and start trading higher again. So both daily and 4-hour time frame structure and the weekly are still to the upside, which make me only look to buy the dips or the correction. The deeper correction, the better. Euro Aussie did also find support at this first level of support up here. This was not the best level actually. I was looking for a deeper test. Those of you who saw my weekly overview from last week, we talked about this level, but a retest, the deeper test down here would be better for a possible bounce. Now, it did find the support on the higher level, which is also a legit level, since we had these tests up here. You see them here, been a good resistant in the past, and now acting as support after a touch of the monthly S1 down here and a reversal, a very strong one. This bullish candle, we never seen a so strong bullish candle for a while back toward this one, or probably this one was also a strong one. So if you look at this candle and the previous candles, you see that those who entered the market here are really in control. They did a bounce in 2 days from the monthly S1, almost reached monthly pivot point. So here we are looking for a possible continuation of this whole move, looking at it from the start down here. We broke above, made a range, broke above this range, and now probably we're getting another new range that could be somewhere like this. So any pullbacks down toward this level would be a good area to try to buy, with targets around these highs up here. And when and if we reach these levels, that could be also a possible sell area. Expecting this at least this range to hold for a while before a possible continuation. Euro JP, after a great selling opportunity, we had a perfect trade shorting the monthly R1 here. We took the trade, it went all the way back down, broke monthly pivot point, did almost reach it, monthly S1. Very good and nice momentum, pain-free free trade before we reached this level, and the euro start getting a very, very strong and good news with the ECB statement, more hawkish with the German coalition and all that stuff that added to strength to the euro. You see the bullish candles that got printed here, they are very, very strong. Now we are trading back outside of this long-term range down here. I think we may look for a possible correction lower toward the top of the box once again. That would be a good level to try to take a buy, and a possible continuation higher toward monthly R1. If you are holding a long, I think you can keep holding this long, targeting these levels up here. If you don't get a deep correction and Euro JPY keep going, moving higher next week, I think the monthly R1 or this area up here could be a good and possible level to try to short it from if you get any good signals. As you see, the RSI do have some more room to the upside on the daily. On the 4 hour, also it do have some more room to reach these highs, and if it does reach these highs, start making some divergence on the 4 hour, the bearish divergence, especially at these levels, giving you any good bearish patterns, that could be a good level to try to short it back down toward 134.40. Euro New Zealand also did break actually below this last line of defense structure wise, but then it went all the way back up above monthly S1, and as you see, very strong bullish engulfing candle took back the whole week bearishness. So it is a clear sign of the bulls taking control of this market with such a major move. And if we go down to the 4 hour, I think to try to continue this, follow this move to the upside, we want to look for pullbacks back down toward these area, the neckline down here, and try to take along from this level. Now the RSI is at the extremes on the 4 hour, and it need to make some correction, make the RSI to oscillate back down, pick some buyers and another move higher from these levels. The deeper the better. As far as we are trading above the monthly S1, I think we can try to buy it from these levels down here. Euro USD now broke above the highs of 2017, and we're gonna go to the weekly to see what an important level that got broken, as you see above this high here. I was firstly looking last week for a possible stop loss hunt, but now with such a move and that the price kept going higher and seems to be accepted at this level, I see this as a very strong signal for a possible continuation in this market. Structure wise, if we look left, you see that the next structure or area of trouble should be somewhere in this level here. Looking left, we do have this structure to work with. At that same level, we do have the yearly R1 pivot. We do have the 618 Fibonacci retracement of this leg to the downside. That may act as a possible resistant level if we reach that level longer term. Now, if we go back to the daily and start looking for a possible, if we really want to keep doing this by textbook, which means keep following the trend, we want to look for a possible buys scenario, and these levels are, of course, this very important level here that got broken, which means the highs from the 2017s and the highs from the first week of 2018 up here is the first area, which is not the best level. But now if the market really want a stronger euro, then of course this could be the first level to look at for a possible trend continuation trade. But for me, I think it would be even better if we got this kind of correction to retest all the way back down toward this area down here, 1.19 level, that would be a much better level to take a long trade from. Yeah. So it's very interesting, and as I said, next week there is no major news for the US dollar that could act as catalyst, so we should keep our eyes toward the euro and the Germany and what's will going on with that coalition talks. Yeah. So those are the levels. The first level is of course this broken structure here. A retest toward that level would be the first area, but not the best. The best, in my opinion, is to try to take along from the monthly pivot point area, where we do have this previous structure, important structure. If we look left, it is an area of good support and resistance levels, and continuation. I would not short euro right now, actually, after this strong momentum, and all the fundamentals are pointing towards strong euro for now. Sterling Aussie did find support at this pre-planned level. This level was on my chart already for a long time now, since we made this swing high. I had this level and kept holding the same level as a good support and resistance level, and now we did find a nice bounce on that. Last Thursday and Friday was a continuation, especially after some good Brexit talks and headlines, even though there was headlines saying that the first thing between the Dutch and the Spanish had talked about accepting a soft Brexit was not a real thing. It was fake news almost, but still the sterling kept going higher anyway. So such a major move here, very strong candles, make us start thinking that there is a possibility for a continuation higher. Now, we never broke this important high, as you see here. We did violate that level, but the 4-hour candle did close below that, and the range is still valid. We do have this high and this low. Those are the levels of this lower range. So there is a possibility now with this overbought RSI that we may see some correction lower. Of course, another retest back down here would be the best level to try to go long from. If all the fundamentals keep going the same way, especially on Tuesday, if we got good numbers as we have the CPI yearly on year for the sterling, I think we may see a break of of this range now, that this move may end here and continues higher, since we did actually break above this important structure. This may be seen as a possible correction in continuation. So as far as this level is holding, we should try to keep going long from here, I would say. Short term, you have this range to work with. Buy the lows, sell the highs until you see a possible breakout to the upside or a breakout to the downside. Then you want to see a retest and a possible continuation lower. Sterling Jappy, now we are trading in this upper range, which means this range here, this little box inside the bigger box. Daily time frame, we did trade to the downside a couple of days, very strongly to the downside, but if we look at the structure, we never broke an important level, which would be this level here. a break of this level, that would send us probably back down, all the way down to the bottom of this range. Now we got another higher low, major higher low, higher than this one, and it seems that we are heading back up, sorry, toward the top of the range. Yeah, it's not the best level right now to make business at. I think this need to correct lower toward the retest of this neckline. That would be a great level to try to go long from, especially if we got that correction down toward the 618. That would be a good level to try to work with. At the same area, we do have this neckline and the 618 Fibonacci retracement. That would be a possible level to look for a bounce. On the 4-hour time frame, this structure got broken, but then the retest did not. If the retest was something like this, then we could see probably a continuation, but we did actually broke back above this possible resistant level, and with such a strong momentum, and if there is no ugly news for the Brexit, I think we may try to buy the dips on sterling Jappy as well. Sterling USD, we go to the weekly to see how things looks here. As you see now, since the low of Brexit back in June 2016 and the continuation lower, we had these all these structures are now broken and closed above. We did break the highs of 2017. These highs was made September 2017, which is a very important high. Now this gap is really closed, as you see, and I don't see any reason to not keep looking to long sterling USD. The first level is, of course, a retest of the monthly R1 or this broken structure here. That would be the first level, but not the best. The best level would be back down toward the monthly pivot point in this previous structure here. If we fill that gap and possible bounce from this level, is a good area to take along now after we have such a great breakout, and there is a possibility for a continuation. Once again, structure wise, we don't have much to work with now, as you see here, until we reach these lows back here. There's nothing at all in the way. Okay, so for me, why not keep following the ongoing trend and look for the continuation. I would not short this market until I see a real break of this level and that the price get accepted, making maybe some sideways break below this range. Then probably you can start looking for shorts. Otherwise, every single dip have been as a good buy opportunity, as you see, and the market is buying every dip for now, and that we should do the same until the fundamentals change for the both currencies. New Zealand CAD, very nice break, retest, continuation. Last Friday was a bearish day after reaching again the monthly R1 and this previous structure resistance that we talked about in last week session. We do have also another structure a little bit higher. If we see this structure as possible resistance as well, they are both very close to each other. So this could be a good correction down now. I think any retest of the monthly pivot point or this structure here would be a good level for a possible buy. The first structure on the way down would be this area up here, a retest of this broken structure, and that is possible to see on the 4-hour. As you see here, we are already testing this first level right now, but I think if we reach lower toward this neckline, or even better toward the monthly pivot point, that could be a much better level to try to sell from. It seems that the monthly R1 and is trading below that right now, and that this previous structure resistant is acting as good resistance so far. If you are short, I think you can hold the short, especially if we break below this minor structure here. If that got broken, then there is a possibility that we may reach lower toward this neckline, or probably even toward the monthly pivot and the low of this whole move to the upside, and then a continuation. If we look at it on the daily, you see major high, major higher low, and that's could be a very good continuation scenario from the monthly pivot point here. I still see this area to be retested at least, but the deeper correction, the better for us to try to take a long, targeting this structure here. Never got really retested yet. New Zealand USD, I had a shorting idea when the price did reach this level, but now that idea is invalid, because I was expecting this resistance to hold, especially that we did have the monthly R1 at that level too also. So I was seeing this possible level here as a possible level for at least a correction from this high back down and continuation. Now after we broke that previous structure last week, the idea is invalid, and it seems that the trend is still very, very strong with very shallow corrections. It is still a healthy uptrend, and one should keep looking to buy the dips. The first area would be a retest back down toward these levels. First level, of course, is the monthly R1. Second level would be around this area here, this structure. As far as we are trading above this structure, I think there is a possibility for continuation higher. To change my bias, it want to break below the structure, retest, fail to go back above, then there is a possibility that we may see an even deeper correction or a shorting scenario. As for now, we want to look to long and keep buying these dips. But as you see, guys, the correction are very shallow on this pair as for now. Hi Antonio, yes buddy, it's recorded, so even though you're late, you just see the recording. USD CAD, we got a very good trading opportunity last week at the monthly S1. I did show you this trade possibility on my weekly overview. I hope that some of you did manage to take this trade. We were talking about if we got a break above the monthly S1 retest, which we also had, and a continuation, and that the first level would be this area here. That did exactly what we said, and it generated a very good amount of pips. But then at this area here we do have some structure. Looking left, you see that it is a good level, and it was a trouble area with lots of retest, and that's why I kept holding this level as a possible shorting area. Now if we go back to the daily, you see that my target 2 would be, of course, the retest of this monthly pivot point level here and the retest of this broken structure before we continue lower. But as you know, with these very strong weakness for the US dollar, it seemed that the market would not make at such a higher retest, and that we are heading down. If you are holding a short, of course, your target would be back down here as a first level, and if that got broken, you see that there is much room to the downside. Now we did break below these lows here, we did break and close one day below these structures here with this day here, and if you are holding a short, you want to look for this level as a trouble area, and if that got broken, as you see, if we look left, there is not much structure until we reach back down toward these levels down here. On the 4 hour, it is more clear. We want to look for break of this level down here. Yeah, I would only sell right now after this retest never broke above. For now, with this dollar weakness, if nothing changes, I'm looking only to sell, and a retest back to these highs would be good to try to take another short targeting these levels, if you are not in a short already, of course. USD JPY, very bearish week, as you see, especially on Wednesday. And one main thing of the dollar weakness that I didn't mention is, of course, the headlines about the Chinese slowing down buy of treasury bonds in the USA, which is very bad for the dollar. And if that is really happening, then there is much more room for more dollar weakness. Now, if we look at this structure here, it was giving us an early warning that I didn't really take seriously, but we should actually do that by, and that warning was a lower high, another lower high here, and it seemed that it was building up for this break to the downside. And last week we broke. I was saying that we should keep buying the 112, which was here, but now that 112 got broken very strongly last week, broke the structure, and heading back down toward this last line of defense before keep going much lower. So the 1080 area down here could be a possible level for a possible bounce, but that would be counter this very strong move to the downside. Yes, so one should be careful. But if we look left, you see that we do have this last line of defense now is the 110.80. Everything below that gonna send us even deeper. Yeah, so there is a possibility that we may see at the retest of this area, we may see probably a bounce higher as a correction or something like that. And of course, to sell this, we want to see a retest of this structure here, a retest of the 112. That would be great level to try to short it and look for a continuation and probably a break of these levels down here, especially with the gold keep rallying like it is doing right now. So yeah, short from now, after we broke the 112, that we try to short it from the 112 once again, could be an idea. Let's not forget that this pair been in this range for a very long time now. As you see, we have this 1, 2, 3, all these ranging here since the start of 2017, and probably time to break out of this range this year. But we are talking about next week, and that's why I see the 112 area as a good level to try for a continuation of this leg back down. If we don't see the correction from the 110.80 back up, and we see that broken, then of course we want to wait for a little bit of retest of this broken structure, and then we could try to sell again. Okay, so keep your eyes on 110.80 as a possible trouble area, at least short term, for USD JAPY next week. And yeah, Bitcoins as last thing to look at. It seems that this area I've been talking about earlier still acting as good support, and the 12,700 could be a good level to look at. But look at this now, very strong move to the downside, correction, couldn't make new high, and another rejection. So we could see the 1200 with this last low here as a possible support level, and you could have a bounce from this level or even lower here, another retest higher, a break of that, which is what I'm looking for actually, is that we may see a break, a retest, and a continuation. But as first, with this crazy hype going on, we may see a bounce here, but all these bad news coming from South Korea trying to ban the cryptocurrencies and stuff like that may send this even lower. So 1200 as first level. If that got broken, I think we're gonna see the 9,000. That would be another good level to try to buy from. This is only technicals levels, as I'm not really following all the fundamental behind cryptocurrencies, but I do have Bitcoin, since a lot of you are asking me about what I think about it, and I was thinking that it is maybe time to start having Bitcoins, and probably one more currency later on, cryptocurrency, to have on my weekly overview, guys. But once again, please do not forget that this is only technicals. I do not follow all the fundamentals about cryptos yet. Yeah, that was it, guys. What a scary chart for the USD dollar, for US dollar. Once again, this is the most important thing to look at for next week, what the Dixie will do around the monthly S2, if we're gonna see this bounce, this possible retest of this area or not for next week. That was the last pair I had, and as usual, couple of minutes. If you have any questions or any chart you want me to look at, please put that in the chat. And do not forget to hit the like button if you really like those sessions. Show your support, and that make me happy to keep doing these sessions every week for you guys. So yeah, I will give it 30 minutes or 1 second to see if I get any questions or charts. Otherwise, we're gonna call it a day. USD Chief, absolutely, Bang. Well, the same as many other US dollar pairs, bearish now after breaking this previous low here. I think if you are holding a short, that look at monthly S1 as first possible little trouble area. Otherwise, back down here toward the monthly S2 is another good level that could be as a market target or market objectives. This very good break, retest, continuation. We could now seeing the same scenario going, break, retest of the broken structure and continuation. So I would say keep selling the rallies on this one as well. Any retest higher would be a good sell level. If we look at how this move looked like, it is very, very clear, very strong bearish candles. The corrections are not as strong as the move to the downside. Very small bodies to the upside, then break, very small bodies to the upside, another strong break. It didn't make more than one 4-hour candle here before it kept going lower. We broke below all structure now, and of course we would try to keep selling those corrections when they happened until, let me look at the weekly if we see a better view of it. You see at the weekly also lower low, lower high, another low broken now, this neckline. Longer term weekly structure, there is not much left until we reach these lows back down here for a longer term move. Daily time frame, we do have some structure. I think this area down here could be a good level to target if you are holding a short, and that we may see a possible bounce back up from this area before a continuation lower. So yeah, there is more room to the downside, especially after the break of this low here. You're welcome, Kim. Valentina, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us live. Thanks to all of you guys. I don't see any other questions or any other charts. Did you think it's possible for a gap down on EURUSD after the bullish Friday? Actually not. Since the buying kept going until the last second, as you see, there was not lots of profit taking here the last hours of the market. I'm expecting probably a gap to the upside and not the opposite on this one. So yeah, in my opinion, I don't see any reason. I didn't see any political news, major news that may give us a gap to the downside, but who knows? I can be wrong. I've been wrong many times before, so but I don't think so. I hope that answered your question, Valentina. You're welcome, Bang. Welcome to all of you. See you next week, guys. See you over my social media, Facebook, on Telegram. And I'm gonna surely send some nice updates when the week start and we start reaching good levels. I'm gonna for sure send some charts on Telegram also. If you're not joining my Telegram yet, do that. You find the address over my Facebook page, and you can join from there. Okay guys, see you next week, and for my lovely students, see you in the room. Bye bye.